Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg, founder and editor-in-chief of All Israel News and our sister site, All Arab News. And we're continuing this discussion with an Israeli presidential candidate. The decision to choose a president of Israel, the next president, for a 7-year term will be decided by the Knesset in a secret ballot. And it all has to be done before July 9th, because July 9th is the transition day when current President Reuven Rivlin will be stepping down after 7 years. And I'm talking to one of the candidates, Yehudah Glick, a former member of Knesset, and somebody who is widely known in Israel as a man of principle. What they don't know much about is you two as a couple, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with you both. I've enjoyed getting to know you a bit, and I want to begin with you, of course, Yehudah. You have paid a price for your convictions. You're a man of deep convictions. I don't think anybody in Israel doubts that. But you were also the subject of an assassination attempt. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll sort of broaden out into how you two met, because you also both have some additional pain in your life. Let's start with the assassination attempt against you.
But actually, I'm really happy that Hadas is here with me today, because we're coming to this presidential campaign with the two of us together and with the love that we have between each other and we want to share with all the people of Israel and the entire world. Personally, October 29th, 2014, I was very active in trying to turn the Temple Mount into what it should be, what the prophets tell us, a house of prayer for all nations. But unfortunately, we know that there are people in this world who don't like peace. They prefer exclusiveness. If you don't worship God my way, I can kill you. And I was a victim of an event of that sort. On 10 p.m. that evening, I finished an event called Israel's Returning to Temple Mount. And as I walked out, I was approached by a person on a motorcycle who, point blank, 1 foot away, shot 4 bullets to the center of my body. And I was critically injured. I was taken to the hospital. My family were all told to come and say goodbye. But
4 bullets to the chest. Most people don't survive something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I would have survived either, if not for millions of prayers of people from all over the world, some who knew me, some who didn't know me, but many people who were there for the cause. And they said a person like this has to survive, and God, and I'm sure people know I survived eventually.
Apparently.
And here I am.
This did not dissuade you, however, from to leave speaking about the right at the minimum for Jews and Christians and others to be able to pray on the Temple Mount. Obviously, you believe in a future biblical prophetic temple as well, but this didn't dissuade you from this, or almost any. I can't think of any other principle that you walked away from.
It encouraged me the importance of a lack of violence. It encouraged me to be as active as I can to bring this message of peace. And if God decided to use this event to get me exposed to the world, and I said, okay, God, I don't know why you chose this way. I had some better ideas, but he didn't appoint me as a spokesman. He probably knows why. But I've been ever since then, I've been more than that. When I became a member of the Knesset, this was my topic. The topic was that this place, the city of Jerusalem, has to be a city of shalom, a city of harmony, a city of diverse inclusiveness. And one of the things I was active in, unfortunately, we'll just conclude by that, but the event, I survived, but unfortunately my wife did not survive. Yafi, who was right near there standing and witnessed the whole thing, and she previously was a widow. Her first husband passed away from cancer when she was 23.
So that must have been a traumatizing, for any reason, for anybody it would be. But
very, very traumatizing. And after 3 months of my rehabilitation, which she was 24/7 involved in, she actually collapsed, and she was diagnosed with a deep suffering of post-trauma, and she didn't survive that. And for 1 year, I was a widow. I was in the Knesset, and Hadas, who had been a widow for 17 years. Hadas was her husband. Her late husband passed away 20 years ago when she was 29, and she was survived with 4 kids. The oldest was 7, the youngest was 7 months. And she brought me to a new dimension of the concept of the preparation for the future redemption process.
Share a little bit about your background. First of all, just where you were born and raised, and how you were raised, and then, how you've worked your way through your own loss of a beloved husband and father to your children.
Right. Well, first of all, I was born and raised here in Israel. I'm a true Israeli, in and out everywhere. And it just happened to be that Yossi, my first husband, was an American boy from Chicago. But other than that, I'm totally Israeli. I was born in Bnei Brak, an ultra-Orthodox environment and society. Went to school and everything, the whole works. When I met Yossi, he showed me the world. He taught me a little bit beyond Bnei Brak. And we moved to a settlement called Talmon. In that settlement, they had every Pesach, every Passover, they had a tradition where the men go and prepare matzah for Pesach, for Passover. And one year they told them in the place where they had that they have no room for them and no cycle are available for them to prepare matzah. And they were very upset. They decided to prepare a whole bakery themselves.
Okay.
And they did so. And the morning, Friday morning, when they first started baking matzah, he just collapsed, some sort of he just collapsed out of no reason. A healthy person with a father who passed away at the age of 94.
So it was nothing you couldn't possibly have seen it coming.
Nothing. He was a healthy man. He did smoke. And that was the one thing that the doctors told me, that young men do die from the heart, but the reason is smoking. And we were like a young couple, very involved, very socially involved, family-oriented, and entire settlement, which was a very small settlement at the time. I think we were like 150 families, something like that. And then everyone was surrounding me. It felt good. It felt warm. But something was wrong. Something was missing. Something was off. And I didn't know what. And I was busy, so busy, making sure my kids are happy, making sure my family is happy, making sure my home is happy, making sure everything is happy. Every Shabbat, I used to prepare lots of stuff, food, and questions about the Parsha, questions about the, what do you call the Parsha?
The Torah
portion of the week.
The portion of the week.
Yeah.
So questions, and for every question there were goodies and treats, and, and seriously, the entire neighborhood's kids used to come to our house because I was so busy making sure that the house is happy. But both my kids, like all four of my kids and me, we were little by little sinking, and I didn't understand why. The one thing that got me to realize that this is it is when all my kids left the house, and I was supposed to be like on my own, free at last, you know, and I don't have to, I don't have to babysit them and work like it was very, very hard all those years, and all of a sudden here I am, a free person, and that free person wasn't free at all. Wasn't I was like, what did I waste my time on? And
eventually, Hadas
and I started,
established an organization, the first organization in Israel, called Amitzim, the Brave, which is an acronym in Hebrew for the young widows and orphans. And there she was, actually implementing what the Torah teaches us, the need to care for the orphan and the widow, because they're not even by themselves aware of how they're sinking.
It's interesting how God uses trauma to lead us into a new phase of life with a deeper compassion. I'm sure you would have both said, we have a compassion for widows and orphans, of course. I mean, it's a mitzvah, but both of you have experienced this in a very real way. When you guys met, you've been married about 3 years now, I believe?
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 years, 3 months,
okay.
and a week.
All right, well, there you go. He told me when you guys came over to our home to get to know each other, he told me that you basically revolutionized his life in the sense of deepening his own heart for the needy, the traumatized, those that feel left out. Widows are not always poor, although they can be, but they're definitely people who who need the rest of the community to come alongside.
Right. That's exactly where
Is
I
that something
found.
you two, I assume, would bring into the presidency?
Definitely. There are so many little
Populations.
that out of sight.
Transparent.
They are, because seriously, there's usually one thing that we judge by. Do you have money? You don't have money. If you have money, then you're fine. If you don't have money, then you're needy and we're going to help you. And that's not the way God judges. God doesn't judge by money. God judges by place, as status. And the Levite and the foreigner and the widow and the orphan lost a status. And by losing a status, God understands that that is a trauma that we as a society have to help.
God says, for the Levite, I am his.
Right.
I am his inheritance, and for the orphan and the widow, God says, I am their parent. I am the one here to warn them. And for me, it was a mind-blowing issue, because suddenly I saw that again and again the prophets, when they're talking about the rebuilding of Jerusalem, they'll always say, but don't forget the orphan and the widow. And the Torah, when it talks about celebrating holidays, don't forget the orphan and the widow. So what Hadas has done here in Israel, she's bringing to the awareness the idea of what it means to empower the orphan and the widow. The way to empower the orphan is by empowering the widow. And we should always say that it's the family of the orphan and widow. She'll call it amitzim, which includes the orphan and the widow and the orphan, because they're one. You can't just take the child away. It's like a house standing on two foundation pillars. One fell. And what you have to do is help the other one not to fall. And this is what Hadas is doing. And hopefully, from the presidential residency, we will make sure that no population is transparent. We're going to go and seek.
Is hidden. I think
is hidden.
Is hidden from that they are all seen by the nation and the government,
and they're all included, and all communities. Don't forget their orphans and their widows.
The whole concept of family is based on a father and a mother, and the whole sacred home that is based on that father and mother is on the Fifth Amendment. It's like, respect your father and your mother. Hope I'm saying it right. But that respect, that sacred place called home, that we neglect as a Western society. We neglect the status of a family as a family.
I hit the jackpot. Not only for the first time, but the second time. And I really am so blessed by Hashem to have Hadas as my partner. And we want to truly, genuinely share that love that we have with all. We want and we believe that light is stronger than any darkness, and love is stronger than any hateness. And we want to bring that light to the Israeli society from the president's residency.
Yehudah Glick, Hadas Glick, thank you very much. I look forward to our third and final interview. We'll talk about a little bit about your journey from the United States and also the idea of being a religious person coming into the presidency. If that, how would that look? And your heart for the Christian community, both here and outside the country, and Arabs and other minorities. I think that's an interesting topic. I want to talk to you about it both. This is Joel Rosenberg in Jerusalem for All Israel News. You've been listening to part 2 of our interview with Israeli presidential candidate, Yehudah Glick. Thank you for joining us.